Red flags. Men ignore until it's too late. There's a strange thing that happens to men when they're falling for a woman. Their brain, the same brain that can solve problems, lift heavy things, and detect danger, suddenly becomes optimistic. Too optimistic. Psychologists call it positive illusion bias, a mental filter that makes you overlook warning signs simply because you want the relationship to work. But here's the truth. The red flags you ignore at the beginning are the same ones that destroy you at the end. And the human mind has a predictable pattern of overlooking the very behaviors that would have saved you the heartbreak, the confusion, and the years wasted. So let's pull back the curtain and reveal the red flags men ignore until it's too late. According to behavioral science, attachment psychology, and decades of relationship studies, let's start with the one men dismiss the fastest: emotional inconsistency. Psychologists call it intermittent reinforcement, the same psychological pattern used in casinos to keep people hooked. When a woman is warm one day and cold the next, your brain enters chase mode. You tell yourself she's just stressed, or tired, or complicated, but patterns don't lie. When her emotional availability comes in waves, your nervous system becomes addicted to the uncertainty reward cycle. It's not love, it's neurological confusion disguised as passion. Then there's the communication red flag. You feel like you're always explaining yourself. Clinical psychologists describe this as cognitive dissonance in relationships, when your actions and her interpretations never match, no matter how clear you think you are. If you constantly feel misunderstood, blamed, or twisted into knots trying to justify normal behavior, you're not in love. You're in emotional quicksand. Another red flag men overlook. She never apologizes, ever. Research at the University of Waterloo shows that people with low self-esteem or fragile egos struggle to admit fault because an apology feels like a threat to their identity. But here's the truth. Relationships can survive many storms, but not accountability issues. A woman who can't acknowledge wrongdoing forces you into the role of emotional parent. Forever guilty, forever explaining, forever wrong. Then comes the jealousy disguised as care, a classic sign of anxious, preoccupied attachment. She wants updates constantly. She reacts strongly when you talk to others. She questions harmless situations. At first, you interpret it as passion, but psychologists warn that controlling tendencies always start softly. The early stage feels like attention. The later stage feels like prison. Another massive red flag men minimize is chronic negativity. Studies show emotions are contagious. Literally, neuroscientists call it emotional contagion, where the mood of one partner directly rewires the emotional baseline of the other. If she complains about everything, sees the world through a lens of pessimism, or constantly anticipates the worst, you will eventually mirror it. You can't build a peaceful life with someone who lives inside a storm. Now let's talk about weaponized silence, one of the most dangerous psychological red flags. When a woman refuses to talk, punishes with silence, or shuts down instead of discussing issues, you're not in a mature relationship. You're in a psychological stalemate. The Gottman Institute, the world's leading relationship research center, labels this behavior as stonewalling, and it's one of the strongest predictors of relationship collapse. But the biggest red flag men ignore, the one that destroys them the most, is subtle. You feel more anxious than at peace. Not all red flags are loud. Some whisper, slow heart rate spikes, feeling like you're walking on eggshells, worrying about how she'll react, second-guessing your words. Psychologists call it relationship-induced anxiety, and it's the clearest sign your nervous system doesn't feel safe with her. Here's the truth. No one wants to say out loud. A healthy relationship calms you. A toxic one stimulates you in all the wrong ways. And men often confuse emotional chaos with chemistry because chaos feels intense. So if you're listening to this and thinking, I've seen these signs, remember one thing: red flags don't go away, they just become more expensive with your time, your peace, and your sanity. The right woman will never make you decode her intentions, justify your existence, or feel like love is a test. You're always failing. Real love feels like clarity. Real love feels like breathing deeply. Real love feels like safety, not survival. And the most important thing to recognize is that when red flags are ignored, what starts as subtle discomfort can quickly escalate into full-blown emotional chaos. The body signals distress, tightening chest, restless nights, constant worry, but men often dismiss these as normal relationship jitters. They convince themselves it's just a phase, that she's just stressed, or that they can fix it later. But those signals are messages from your nervous system begging you to pay attention. Ignoring them is like refusing to see the warning lights on your dashboard until the engine stalls. The danger is in the slow erosion of your boundaries, your peace, and your sense of self. Every red flag you overlook chips away at your confidence, your happiness, and your ability to trust your own judgment. Over time, the relationship becomes a maze where you're lost inside a web of confusion, doubt, and emotional exhaustion. The truth is, love isn't supposed to feel like a constant battle. It's supposed to feel like coming home. It's supposed to bring out your best, not your stress. It's supposed to be a source of peace, not a daily struggle to keep your head above water. Recognizing these red flags early isn't about judging her. It's about protecting yourself from the heartbreak and chaos that come from ignoring the signs. The sooner you see them, the sooner you can make choices that honor your well-being and find a love that truly nurtures you, not drains you. If you've ever ignored one of these red flags in the past, what was the moment that finally made you realize it was time to walk away? Share your story below. Your experience might just help someone else see the signs sooner.